Glad to be joined by CJ Frederick, shooting guard for the Cincinnati Bearcats. Comes from way of the Kentucky Wildcats. Before that, an Iowa Hawkeye. Before that, Covington Catholic. And before that, a Pacelli Panther, which not a lot of people know. A little bit niche. What's up, CJ? Welcome to the program today.
How you guys doing? Thanks for having me. Excited.
Let's go way back to you coming out of Covcath, where you won a state championship, taking down Scott County. Michael Marino was on the ground in tears as you're hoisting up the trophy. At that point, not being recruited by Cincinnati, it didn't seem like much. Take me through your initial recruitment, deciding on Iowa. Was Mick Cronin involved in the process at all, or why was Cincinnati never really an option for you?
Yeah, I pretty much out of high school was recruited by a lot of mid-major schools and quite a bit of Power 5 schools. Cincinnati, like you said, wasn't really involved in my recruitment at all. I actually was, family friends with Mick and love Mick Cronin still to this day. But yeah, ultimately ended up going to Iowa. Felt like that was a good fit for me out of high school. So yeah, that was pretty much what I decided to go with out of high school.
Why Cincinnati this time? Where you're coming from Kentucky, the options were probably limitless. Why UC?
Yeah, a lot of the reason I chose UC was just being from Cincinnati. I love everything about Cincinnati. I'm a Cincinnati kid through and through. And then a big deal for me was, Coach Miller, the relationship I had with him through the recruiting process. Cincinnati joining the Big 12 also. It just seemed like it was all a win-win for me. I felt like I could really do well here in the offense that Coach wanted to run, and I felt like it was a good fit for me. And then playing in the Big 12 is arguably one of the best conferences in the country. So, that was a big key in coming as well. But, being from Cincinnati, that was a big part of it. Just wanted to be home and be close to my family and, play for the city.
So, CJ, this isn't your first rodeo. So this will be your sixth year in college. And I remember, visiting college at 24, 25. You're still super young, obviously. But I was always getting a lot of shit for, being the old man on campus. Do you ever feel like you got to be the adult in the room with some of these, 18, 19-year-old kids, or what's that like?
Yeah, it's been fun. I just kind of try to share a lot of the knowledge I've had and try to share with some of the younger guys what it's like to, just go through wars in a season and long seasons and trying to take care of your body. But I don't even see myself when I'm here every day that I'm that old. But now that you guys say it, I am pretty old. But yeah, these guys, they make it fun for me. Being in college for 6 years, I still have a lot of fun doing this. But yeah.
They say the key to longevity is shooting about 40% from deep, which you've done throughout your entire career. Let's talk about the team as a whole. Coming into this season, there are a lot of different players that we can pick and choose from that we think could be the star for this year's team. And I know the stock answer from any player is, everyone's been great in practice. But to you, one player that's really stood out in practice alone dominating, who would that guy be?
Everyone here is just great and love playing with them. I think the one guy that stood out to me has been DayDay Thomas. Coming from a JUCO, he's just so explosive in the open court and can pick you up 94 feet, shooting the ball really well. It's fun for me because we like to get out and run. And when he's flying in transition, he's looking for me a lot when I'm running in transition. Can get us into the offense, but he's been really impressive this offseason, and it's gonna be fun playing with him.
I've been begging for UC to get a sharpshooter like yourself, so just thank you for being part of this program. I'm excited to watch you. But we know Wes Miller was quite a bit of a shooter back in his UNC days. Do you guys ever go back and forth in a little three-point contest? Does that ever happen as far as a practice or a scrimmage?
He talks a lot like he wants to do it, but we never actually do it. I'll give him credit. He'll come out to practice and he'll grab the ball and he'll just be like, watch, this is going in, and he'll make it. So I know he could definitely shoot the rock, but he's yet to actually want to do a competition yet.
He's running from it. We got to get that at some point this year.
Have to.
Tell me about the uniforms, man, because to a lot of people, maybe a DayDay Thomas or a Dan Skillings, the uniforms are just cool uniforms with blocks. But for me, being a 30-year-old man with Steve Logan in the background here, these blocks symbolize Bearcats' dominance in that culture, that Cincy toughness that was instilled back in the Bob Huggins era when they were Jordan Brand. Do you remember any of those days, or were you right on that cusp where you were more like growing up with Sean Kilpatrick and Kashmir Wright?
I remember more of the SK years and the Justin Jackson years. But, growing up in the city, I knew all about it. The block looks, these are the OG looks. Every Cincinnati team has always been grit and grind and just toughness. But, yeah, I love these unis. They just symbolize Cincinnati basketball and everything that it's made up and what we stand for.
Yeah, and I got to ask you, so you're at UK, obviously, with Coach Calipari, Hall of Fame coach. What's it like? Is there any similarities with playing for Wes Miller? I think he's on the trajectory to be Coach Calipari, if you ask me. But any similarities or, differences that you see within the coaching styles?
Yeah, they definitely, I would say, two of the most hardworking and determined guys I've been around. Both those guys just have a crazy desire to win, and I see it in both of them. Just relentless. Every day they come to work. There's always a purpose and a message, and you could just see they want to win so bad. And I think as a player, when you step out on the court, at the end of the day, you want to play for someone who wants to win as bad as you do. And I see a lot of that in those two.
You were at Cardinal Pacelli, which is a grade school in the east side of Cincinnati and Mount Lookout, way back in the day with a young Miles McBride. Was he in your grade? Yep. Was he on your team? Give me kind of the recap of that.
So Deuce was, when I was a seventh grader, he was an eighth grader. Or when I was an eighth grader, he was a seventh grader. So he's a year younger than me. But he was so good, he had to play up. So he played up with me when I was in.
You guys didn't lose much, did you?
No, there wasn't many losing going. There wasn't much losing. Yeah, those were some good days. Those are some good days.
No doubt about it. Rob Hacker said he's going to retire your jerseys, put them up in the rafters someday at Cardinal Pacelli. Thanks for joining, man. I appreciate it, CJ. Best of luck this season.
Thank you, guys.
See you, brother. There he is, DayDay Thomas. What's good, man?
What's good? How y'all doing?
Good. Welcome to the show. You want to fly through this thing?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's do it. We now welcome on Bearcats point guard DayDay Thomas to the program. First of all, DayDay, welcome to Cincinnati, man. We're excited to have you.
Yes, sir, man. Appreciate y'all. Appreciate it.
What brought you to Cincinnati from Kilgore Community College in Texas? I know you had an offer from Kansas State, among many other high-profile Division I schools. Let's take Wes Miller out of the equation, because I know that the coaching staff's obviously reason number one. What was reason number two that had you as a Cincinnati Bearcat commit?
When I came on my visit, man, the fans were showing love. The team was treating me like a brother when I stepped on campus here. So it was a great experience here when I came on my visit.
I'll tell you what, the Cincinnati fan base may be the best fan base in the country when it comes to responding with gifts to potential commitments. I mean, they go hard on that. If we're number one at the country in one thing, it's that for sure, man.
Oh, yeah, they definitely show love. I love the fans here.
100%. And I got to ask, so it's you and Jizzle James playing the point guard spot. 2 first-team all-name selections in my book, Jizzle James and DayDay Thomas. I love that. I'm just curious, what's it like playing with Jizzle, and what's your relationship like?
See, man, me and Jizzle real close. We close on the court and off the court. So we watch film together, get each other involved. In practice, we compete to get each other better. And off the court, we watch film, show each other what we need to do more, what we need to do better for the team.
Jizzle is the son of Hall of Fame running back Edgerrin James, and for 2 old 31-year-olds, or Hudson 30 years old, don't want to age him too much, but for 2 30-year-olds like ourselves, we remember Edgerrin James running for the record books, Hall of Famer, is an Indianapolis Colt, and is an Arizona Cardinal. when you see Edgerrin show up to a practice or whether you've seen him yet or not, or to a game at some point, will you be starstruck, or are you young enough to where you have no idea before you met Jizzle who Edgerrin is?
Nah, I actually didn't know who Edgerrin James was. Then I asked my coach at Kilgore College actually told me who he was. So when I do see him at a game, I got to introduce myself to him.
I love that, old Edgerrin James. I got to ask everyone, apparently, and I believe this, that you're one of the fastest people to ever put on a UC uniform. Is there anybody on the team that could compete with you if we were doing a race, a 100-yard dash? Is there anybody that could compete with you there?
Maybe Raymond Griffin, because he always saying he faster than me. So Raymond Griffin might give me a run.
Now, the stock answer for this one is every single player. I asked CJ Frederick who was the most impressive Bearcat on the team, at least in practices, that was kind of dominating. He said you. I was actually kind of shocked. I was expecting him to say, everyone's very impressive. He singled out you and said, man, I didn't know what to expect with DayDay, but he is so explosive with the ball in his hands. To you, who is really impressive in practice that just has his moments where he takes over and dominates?
At time to time, I say either Ace with the laws we throw to him and the crazy, like he can catch any ball we throw, or I say Jamil Reynolds.
Okay, so the two big guys that we're hoping are eligible for this upcoming season, most impressive in practice per DayDay Thomas.
So you're new to the Cincinnati area, obviously. Have you tried Skyline yet? Is that something that you've done so far?
Nah, I haven't tried Skyline yet. I'm actually gonna try it next week. I'm gonna try it next week. I got to see what everybody talking about. I got to see what the hype about.
Oh yeah,
But
we're gonna have to follow up with that and get your Skyline order.
We're going to follow up DayDay, and here's what you need to do. If you like hot dogs, everyone's going to tell you to get the 3-way or the 4-way or the 5-way. No, the spaghetti does not need chili and cheese. You get 3 cheese conies, mustard and onions. You ask for one of them with the habanero cheese if you like spicy, and get yourself a water, because we don't want you taking down Dr. Pepper before this season. We need you to be spry and loose and not drinking that soda. Wes Miller, he seems like he's still pretty spry and loose as a coach that can get out there and play with you guys in practice. You ever shoot around with him and see some of the skills he has that made him a former UNC player?
Yeah, I actually did shot around with Coach Miller, man. He popped up to one of my workouts one morning, and he swore he could have shoot better than me. And we went shot for shot. And Coach Miller, he's still young, so he still got it, man.
I love that. And I got to ask, just as far as, what you remember, when you were younger, and you might be too young to remember some of the old school UC days. Just curious, when did UC, come on the map for you? Because obviously you were out in Texas, had a bunch of other offers. How did UC come about for you?
I say really my freshman year, because coming out of high school, I ain't really had much schools that reached out to me. I only had one JUCO, so really my freshman year at JUCO, because I seen him popped up to one of my practices to recruit one of my teammates, and I seen Coach Miller, and he was telling me how he had a relationship with Coach Miller. So when Coach Miller reached out to me, our relationship was tight.
So to you, these jerseys that you're wearing are just cool Jordan jerseys with the blocks. To me, there's a reason I have it in the background of the studio right now. These symbolize Bearcats' dominance. They were Dan Skillings with the little photo bomb making an appearance today on Chatterbox Bearcats. But these to me are just, they symbolize the swagger and the culture and the toughness that was UC and has been UC for a long time. But especially when they were wearing these uniforms, it was top 10 or bust every single season. Does that kind of get ingrained to you by the coaching staff and by some people around the program of how much these jerseys mean to this fan base, or has that not hit you yet?
Nah, I actually did. So everybody, when they posted jerseys, when they actually released the jerseys, I seen how fans was going crazy and talking about back in the day when they was Jordan, and now that we Jordan now, so the fans is loving it. So now, and I'm a big Jordan guy, so I'm loving it too.
You dodged a bullet with some of the old school Adidas uniforms we used to roll out, man. So lucky you're dealing with the peak of the peak as far as the Jordan gear. My last question for you, just as far as kind of the upcoming season, how do you see this team doing as far as just from a schedule standpoint? Obviously, we're not going to overlook the the out of conference. But my main question would be, are you familiar with the Xavier rivalry? Is that something that you have, pinned to the top of your board as far as something you're looking forward to?
Man, yes, sir. I'm ready for that. Since the day I stepped on campus, my teammates were telling me how big the whole crosstown shootout is. So I'm like, they really is rivals. So like, I'm definitely ready for that game. That's a big game, so I'm definitely ready for that because I see how many people be talking trash about Xavier, how Xavier fans talk about Cincinnati.
I love it, man.
I'll give you a quick history lesson, then we'll get you out of here, DayDay. But yeah, Cincinnati growing up for us, people our age, dominant over Xavier every single year. There was no question who the better team was in the crosstown shootout rivalry. In the last 15 years, 20 years, if you're 20 years old, your age, whatever it may be, Xavier's been the better program. So we need to get one in Cintas Center for the first time since 01, get back to where we were at, and it obviously starts with you. One last question. You're lightning in a bottle. Wes Miller's talked about his style is playing quick. How fast are you expecting this team to play this year? Will we see some pressing out of the gate?
Nah, I'm definitely ready for the season start so everybody can actually see how fast we're going to play this year because I'm fast with the ball. So as the big taking the ball out, I'm pushing the ball. I'm pushing the ball up the court. Let's play. Let's hoop.
We're excited to see you play.
Let's
That's
do it.
DayDay Thomas, point guard for the Cincinnati Bearcats. They open up the season against Illinois Chicago at Fifth Third Arena on November 6th. DayDay, you're about to be a fan favorite, man. First team all name with Jizzle James. What a backcourt. Welcome to Cincinnati, my friend.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.